right, everybody, and welcome to the Touch of Gaming podcast, episode number 119. As always, I'm your host, Lloyd Hannison. And today, joining me, we have Jared Schultz. Jared, how's it going?
Going well. How are you doing, Lloyd?
I'm doing really, really good, and we got a special surprise. Some special guests have joined us on the phone call as well. We have the duo, the two Mikes from Beavertap Games, Mike Gaughen and Mike Meade. So how's it going, guys?
Pretty good.
Pretty
Yeah,
good.
really good.
Pretty good. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, for sure. We love, if you guys, obviously you know, they're the guys from Mikey Shorts. We talked about the game a while ago and had awesome things to say about it. So we're planning on doing an interview with them later in the episode, but we thought we'd start it off kind of the way that we normally do and kind of do what we've been playing and stuff like that. So anyway, let's do some introductions. So we'll start off with Mike Gaughen. Mike, how's it going?
It's going very good.
That's good. Busy?
Yeah. Yes. So my name is Mike Gaughen, and I am the technical director, kind of slash programmer at Beavertap Games. And, you know, our first and only game at the moment is Mikey Shorts that we released back towards the end of August. And lives have just kind of been going crazy doing all of that at the moment.
So it's a lot of work to make a game, is what you're trying to say?
It was a lot of work. We spent a lot of time on it, and yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thanks
it's
for.
A lot of work.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say it's a lot of work, but you know, it's been a lot of fun too. Just actually getting a real game out there.
Nice, cool. Well, thanks for taking some time to join us here.
Yeah, thanks.
And Mike Meade. Mike, how's it going?
Good. I'm the creative director at Beavertap Games, which really just means I do everything except programming.
Nice.
He's the smart one. I'm the I'm the other one.
You come up with some really good technical names though, so that's a good thing. Creative, you might say.
I'm the creative, the super fancy designer at Beavertap Games.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us as well, Mike.
Thanks for having us.
Cool. So let's start it off with I don't know, why don't you guys give us a kind of a small rundown of what Beavertap Games is, and then we'll get into what we've been playing, and then we'll go right into the interview stuff.
Well, this is Mike Meade. We started a long time ago. It seems like now we met on a forum back in the day, playing against each other in Hook Champ. I don't know for iOS.
Nice.
It was from Rocket Cat Games, and we battled on the leaderboards for a while, and went back and forth on the forums, and after beta testing some of their other games, we actually started talking on email, and he had mentioned that he was interested in making a game himself, and if he could, if I wanted to help with any like Photoshop artwork or something, that he could, make a little character of some sort. So I sent him a little sprite with me in short shorts, and I said, "Here you go. This is all I can do." That I could have sent you a pirate or a ninja, but here's me in short shorts. Let's do it. Let's make a game.
So that's a tip for young aspiring people out there. Just put you in short shorts on your resume, and it gets you a job.
Exactly. It's I think it was actually, that was the placeholder, was me in short shorts, but somehow it lasted throughout development as the key character in the game.
Well, that's cool.
And no one stopped us, so we just stuck with it.
Has anybody recognized you from the game in real life is, I guess, the better question.
A couple, when I posted some things on Facebook about like, hey, like our game's coming out, a couple people actually said like, "Is that you?" I was like, "What? Is that you in short shorts?" Or they said that main character guy looks like you. It's just the eyebrows and brown hair.
Right.
Come on.
Right. Cool.
My confused look all the time.
And the windswept hair.
Oh yeah, the hair sticking up in the back is always that's a key feature of my hairstyle.
Cool. Well, it's good that you brought a little bit of yourself into the game.
Yeah.
That's what we like to see. Cool. Well, let's take a pause. Let's get into what we've been playing. So I don't know, Jared, why don't you talk a little bit about the stuff that you've been playing around with on your iOS devices this last week or so?
Sure. I've been playing a lot of things. First of all, I went and used my secret hidden Canada account to go pick up one of your freemium games that they're testing up there.
That's cheating, by the way.
Yeah, well, it happens. And I went and picked it up because it was by Backflip Studios. As you know, I was a huge user of Dragon Veil. I was addicted for a great amount of time. And, well, this is the exact same game. It's called Gizmonauts. It's just they basically took out all the dragons and added in robots. So apparently that's a good tip for a game as well. You just, take out your dragons, add in robots, and you have a new game. So, I mean, it's okay, but I am a little worried that I'm going to get addicted again. So I probably am going to stop before I get pulled to in and get into collecting every single possible robot that you can get. Also been playing a game by Gameville called Kingdom Royale. So this is one of those like Clash of Clans. It's a strategy like kingdom builder thing where you have to build up your armies and do all that sort of thing, collect the money and come back an hour later and collect more money. And it is, I don't know, I hate to say this, but I don't feel like there's anything that really sets it apart from all the other ones. It just feels slow. And basically it's like, hey, give me your money so that you can actually play and advance this game, which is not really what I want to do. So that one as well will probably be getting deleted before I end up finishing or talking about it again. Also been playing Zen Forms. As you know, Lloyd, I was really excited for this one because it was a Pokemon clone. It actually looked really good. Here's the thing. It actually is okay. The basic mechanics are pretty good, but it's just incomplete. Like, you end up finishing the story, and if you were to just start the game and go straight for the story, you would be done with it in 20 minutes. Yeah, from start to finish, story, 20 minutes. And he talks about how he's a one-man team, and I feel for him there. But he also has this big disclaimer as soon as you boot up the program for the first time that says, hey, this is only 15% of the content I'm going to have. And, well, I don't know. It just feels like maybe it should have been more complete before it was done. And so I'm going to wait to really recommend it to anyone before I go ahead and yeah, it's one of those things that I want to wait and see. And then also I've been playing Pilot's Path. You'll probably hear a review for this one next time. It's kind of like I Dig It in a helicopter, but not quite as polished. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've seen that one as well.
Yeah, so I Dig It was a game where you were digging around, and this one you're running around picking up different treasures from different islands and trying to complete some missions, and it's pretty fun. But it's a little bit not quite polished. And then also it's another one where there's only 2 maps on it, and so you can get through them in probably not too long, and then it has another one that says coming soon, and so again, it's hoping that pretty soon it'll come out. So yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Cool. Yeah, I've seen a couple of those games as well. That helicopter one, I checked it out. I thought it was something worth picking up, but maybe might stay away from that one for a little bit.
Yeah, it's not a bad game. I'm just hoping that they support it with a few more updates, because then I think it could be a great game if they push it a little better.
Cool. Awesome. Well, moving on, Mike Gaughen, between programming and other things, have you been playing anything on your iOS devices lately?
Oh, what have I been playing? I've downloaded a few games. I think one is that Tentacles game,
Yes.
The Microsoft game.
Yes, I've been playing that one as well, and it's actually pretty damn awesome.
It was kind of cool. I played through like the first couple of levels or something. And it seemed decent, but yeah, I just haven't had time to go back to that one. Same with the Wimp. What is it now? The Who Stole My Pants?
Yeah.
Instead of the Who Stole My Panties kind of controversy.
Nice.
But
I like that controversy.
Yeah, that's another one.
That's Flexel Studio, I think, is the Wimp Who Stole My Pants. They, I think it's a Russian company. It's their first iOS game, and I think that company actually has some experience on some of the other, I think, some consoles. And it's one of those games where there's like 60 levels and 3 worlds, and you get like it's a puzzle platformer. It's actually really pretty. It's like a really good looking game. And I think once you move the default controls around, you can edit. And when you edit the controls, I think it's a lot better. And it actually is. It's kind of fun. I think the second and third world are really pretty creative. I'd almost compare some of the puzzles to, well, not totally compare, but it reminds me of like Portal-esque sort of thinking on a smaller scale with some of the puzzles. But if you can get past a few little control things, I think the Wimp Who Stole My Pants is a pretty good game.
That's awesome. I had not actually heard of this game before, so I'm going to read up on the drama that's happening with it. But...
Yeah, I don't. I think it was more like their original title. They didn't realize what panties was. The main character's a boy, and they said they posted on a forum that said they weren't sure what to change it to, and so I think they must have decided on Who Stole My Pants as that's a boy thing, because I think you're collecting. To finish the level, you have to find or you collect like underwear, basically.
Are they golden?
And there's like they should be though. No, they're in like a bubble. Your guy's in like a little, I don't know, he's like a little alien of some sort, and he's like in some sort of like goo. He's in a little bubble, and he could like jump around and he could stick to stuff when he's in that goo. It's pretty neat. They have a light version too, and they actually have they have an HD version that's universal, and then they have a regular version that's universal. I don't know exactly what that's all about, but I think I just have the regular one. Like I don't know if it's just less pretty or what, but I just have an iPhone, so they have light versions though. I recommend it. It's pretty good it's like 99 cents, and it's a fun little puzzle platformer.
Cool. I'll be picking that one up after the show for sure.
Yeah. It's also kind of funny because even pants, if you go to England, it should be trousers.
Yes, there you go. Who stole my trousers? Who nabbed my trousers?
Who nicked my knickers? That would be even better. Cool. So I guess moving on to Mike Meade, you've obviously been playing Who Stole My Pants. Anything else?
I've obviously also been looking for my underwear, and I just downloaded that was it Topia?
Yeah.
The World Builder.
Yeah.
That who's that by? Is that the CM Games one? Was it
Yeah, it's Crescent Moon was the publisher.
Yeah, they're the publisher, but I forget the
Solid 60, I think.
Forest Moon or Forest Games or something.
Well, that's their like 2D one. The Topia is still like is the regular one, right?
Yeah.
It's
still from Crescent Moon.
Yeah, they do have that like the 2D platformer ones are from like Forest Moon now or something. And then the Crescent Moon does like all the fancy 3D ones. It's actually pretty neat. It's not really it's not a game yet, but I was toying around with it. It was growing on me a little bit. It's just like you just sort of all I've really been doing right now is you placing a bunch of animals around, and then you send a bunch of predators nearby, and that's about it. And then you let them attack.
Yeah, that's definitely what I've been doing as well. I put about 4,000 green animals, and then I put 2 red guys, and see how long it takes for all the red guys to eat all the green animals.
Yeah, that's like, I see potential with it, and I'm sure they're getting a lot of feedback. I wish it just had a better save system though, because I feel like I don't want to invest a lot of time in it if I can't easily just load a game, or load a world where I left off.
Right.
Like Minecraft, like on the mobile, is really easy just to, build a bunch of stuff, and then I think you can even just exit, or it just automatically saves where you left off. You don't have to worry about it, and just load it right back. Whereas this is, I think, in order for people to really get comfortable with building huge, worlds, they got to make sure they can save it properly.
Right. Exactly.
But it's really pretty. I like the look of it.
Awesome. Anything else, or is that pretty much it? I know you guys have been pretty busy, and we'll get into that.
Yeah, I know. Sure. We'll get into our busyness. Yeah, that's pretty nice. I mean, there's still the. I think that's probably good. I was like, probably the only thing's worth a shout out. Anything else I've been playing is probably not very good if I can't remember it.
Exactly. Cool. Okay, well, let's move on. I'll talk a little bit about a couple of the games that I've been playing. I picked up The Simpsons Tapped Out again. They came out with a Halloween update to it, and it's kind of like freemium. I've talked about it before on the show, where you kind of build, you build basically Springfield, and you place buildings and collect stuff from the buildings and place people, and there's a really aggressive in-app purchase system, which just kind of blows my mind still to this day. But they came out with a Halloween update to coincide with the Treehouse of Terror episode. So you can place the black hole from that episode. You can basically put a whole bunch of different Halloween-y kind of buildings. So there's a graveyard, there's a pet cemetery. Every 8 hours, zombies will spew forth from both of the graveyard and the pet cemetery, and if they bite your guys, they turn them to zombies and things like that. So I've been actually enjoying it a fair bit. As far as those freemium kind of, I don't know, Farmville-esque kind of games are, it's pretty decent. If you guys haven't already picked it up, it's free to download, and if you're not one of the crazy people that spends hundreds of dollars on donuts to buy the premium buildings, it's actually a pretty fun and enjoyable game. Besides that, I've been playing that Tentacles Enter the Dolphin is what it's called, which is a game that's actually published by Microsoft Game Studio, which kind of confused me a little bit when I first started the app on my iPad, and it's pretty cool. There's a dolphin scientist that is breeding these organisms, like microscopic organisms, and he gets angry because someone else won, and then he tries to make this other organism that's so pretty, but when it actually gets made, it's this ugly black thing with claws. So he gets mad and throws it up in the air, and it ends up landing in his mouth because he's screaming at the time. And the game basically revolves around you and your 3 arms. I guess you have 4 arms, but only 3 are ever attached to a surface, kind of going through levels and collecting items. So you basically tap on a wall, and one of your arms will stick to that wall, and then your arms are very stretchy. So you'll basically elastic between the 3 points that you're connected to. So there's a bit of puzzle solving. It's also a 3-star game, so you get a star for collecting all the items. You get a star for completing the level-specific challenge. So there'll be a little challenge area where you either have to get through this area without dying or without getting damaged or fast. And then you also get a star for not dying at all in the level. So pretty fun. It looks like there's about 40 levels right now, and there's a button that says buy Dog Eat Dog, which looks like another set of levels for 99 cents. So it's $1, so pretty much something that I would recommend that people pick up, even though this isn't a full review. But I've been enjoying it. It's a really decent game, and just the elastic mechanic of having your little blob guy kind of stuck in different parts of the level. Actually had a lot of fun with that one. And also picked up Crazy Taxi, which came out yesterday, because I played the original Dreamcast version probably 1,000 hours. Played that game so much so that I know like all the Offspring songs by heart. Just like I think of Crazy Taxi and Offspring starts playing in my head. So it came out on the App Store for $5. It's playable on your iPhone or iPad, and it's Crazy Taxi. You basically drive around a city, pick up people, drive them where they have to go. There's different modes. There's a 3-minute mode. There's a 10-minute mode. There's the original arcade mode, which is you get more time for every person that you do or pick up and drop off. And then there's some other modes and puzzle modes and things like that. So it's Crazy Taxi. People have probably played it across all sorts of different platforms, because I know it was available on like GameCube and PlayStation and pretty much everything way back in the day. So if you haven't gotten your fill of Crazy Taxi, it's definitely a fun pick up and play kind of game.
If you never got it for Dreamcast,
yes,
get it now.
Exactly, for $5, which is probably less than what you would pay for a Dreamcast version in some bargain bin somewhere.
Sure.
Cool. All right, so I guess that's going to about do it for what we've been playing. I guess we should maybe just get into our interview. So we've already introduced you guys, obviously, the 2 Mikes, Mike Gaughen and Mike Meade from Beavertap Games. So you've already told us a little bit about the company, but how did Beavertap actually start? Like you guys met on a message board, started talking back and forth. Did you guys just come together and start working in the same office? I know the answer to this one right now already, but I thought maybe you guys would want to tell people kind of how your working arrangement kind of goes.
Well, this is Mike Meade, by the way. But yeah, it's kind of funny. We started off really just talking via email, and and then that was something that sort of just led into, hey, do you want to maybe send me some artwork? And which I did, and then just emails back and forth for pretty much like a year. It's like fast forward to a year. No, it was off and on for a year. We weren't quite sure where we were headed with the game, but we were just in our spare time, just sort of every so often just send a little bit of artwork, and he'd move things around and make the character run and jump. It's like super fancy, and then we started, actually, that was pretty much all of 2011 was just off and on. And I think we really stepped it up at the beginning of 2012. And that's when we started. I think that's might be because we started using like iMessage a lot. We actually we moved on from email. We graduated and started actually texting with iMessage. And then it wasn't until and then about March is when we really had a build we were pretty comfortable with, and we started beta testing a little bit after that for a while, and then we made some changes. And yeah, I mean, Beavertap Games was just something we came up with since we're based out of Oregon. That was really where the beaver came from. So at least that's what we say. That's what I say for Beavertap Games. I'm like, what? From Oregon? It's beaver. Beavertap.
Nice. I guess you have to be from Oregon to get it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mike G's from he went to Oregon State. They're the Beavers.
Yes, that is the Oregon State mascot, the Beavers.
Nice. I would have thought that you guys would be Canadian with the beaver, because that seems to be the Canadian mascot for most things. So
the beaver's like the Canadian mascot.
Yeah, that's
the mascot of Canada.
That's it. It's just beaver. That's all we're known for is maple syrup and beavers.
Beaver holding a little maple leaf.
Yeah, that's great.
It's like, welcome to Canada.
This is Mike Gaughen, but the one unique thing with our work situation is we have never actually met or have never actually seen each other in person.
We do not know what each other looks like.
No.
Wow. So you could be totally different people. You could be like actually 5 people that all masquerade as one person.
I think we might actually be a full-fledged, huge company and not even realize it. It's like, who knows? Somebody's bluffing here. I don't know who.
We actually never talked in person until after the game released.
Wow.
I think we did another podcast, and that was like the first time that we ever spoke to each other.
Wow, that's unbelievable. So the game was in development for a long time. Is this kind of your gig now? Like, are you guys doing this full time, or do you hold a full time job and do this as kind of a side thing?
Well, I think we're trying to keep it. We want it to be a full time thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's something we would like to do. So we're trying to, step up some development a little bit, or get something started, maybe on a sequel or something to, keep Mikey Shorts going. It's because we enjoy it. I mean, that's something we like. People, getting great feedback from people is always good. It's always nice. Nice to hear a lot of good things. People are having fun with it. We get tweets and emails and stuff with people super stoked about the game. So we're thinking, hey, maybe we can make another game. I'll see you in a year and a half.
You'll have to have disguises or pants or shorts in it somehow, just like the Rocket Cat guys have hats in all their games.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely. Yeah, I think we'll probably we'll expand on the platformer aspects. I think of it a little bit more. This Mikey Shorts, it's like a run, jump, and slide, and with really just little robots that get in your way, sort of to block you. And we're thinking of maybe adding a few more just obstacles and a little more, maybe make it a little more traditional platform as well.
Right.
As well, but still keep the speed run sort of racing feel.
Yeah. So I just want to kind of quick jump in here with a little bit of the story how we came to meet the two mics. Because what happened was, as you guys, as the listeners of our podcast know, was a few podcasts ago, we were tweet always before we record a live show, and Lloyd had mentioned that we were, or always mentions what games we'll be talking about. Well, apparently that piqued somebody's interest. I don't know if it was Mike Meade or Mike Gaughen, but eventually they both ended up in the chat room listening to the podcast, and it was kind of funny because, you know, we usually have the same 15, 20 people that we know pretty well that are in the chat room, and all of a sudden there are these two new guys that I'd never heard from before, and they kept saying funny things like at one point they said they only follow Canadians, and so Lloyd got off to him about Canada. And, you know, I asked him if they had listened to the podcast, and they basically didn't know much about the podcast. And I was like, oh, really? And I just couldn't figure it out. Well, after Lloyd finishes giving his 5 out of 5 star review to Mikey Shorts, they finally pipe up and say, we're the developers of that game, and we didn't want to tell you because we didn't want to influence what you're going to say about it. And I have to say, it was one of the funniest moments that I've ever had in podcasting.
Yeah, we were being super sneaky.
No, that was a lot of fun. I've actually, some guys at work were listening to the show after I posted it, and they came and had a conversation with me about it. They were laughing about it too. They thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, we're always looking on, like, you know, you have a saved search on Twitter, you know, of like Mikey Shorts, you know, or anything related to the game. See if anyone says anything about it. So I was like, there's a live podcast. What's this all about? And then we just jumped in, and
That's
it's
great.
a good podcast too. I like was listening. I think we listened to the whole thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was like, did they talk about Mikey Shorts yet? I don't know. What did we miss?
Well, I'm glad we've converted you guys to listeners as well as guests on the show. That's great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Awesome. So, I guess maybe talk a little bit about the game. Like, what's the engine built in? Like, why did you want to do a speedrunner? Is just that type of aspect of the game. Like, did you kind of have this vision for the game when you first got started, or did it just kind of evolve based on things you were playing at the time?
You can go ahead, Mike. You're the programmer.
I think it kind of involved. I think we both knew we wanted to do kind of a platformer speedrunner just because that's, you know, kind of how we met, was playing Hook Champ and competing on that. And so we found that we, you know, really enjoyed the kind of speedrun platformer type games. I think initially just, you know, as Mike Meade was saying earlier about getting together, we just, you know, give me a character to animate this and that. So we didn't really have a real direction at that point, and it just kind of evolved into this little platformer speedrunner thing. And to really help with the development, we made use of the Cocos 2D and Box 2D, which is probably a bit overkill for the physics, but since, you know, I'd never programmed an actual game before, it seemed easier at the time just to make use of that. But Cocos 2D is great. I mean, it really helped us get up and running really fast.
Yeah, no, I've dabbled with it a little bit. It's pretty fantastic for what it is. But the thing that really kind of struck me about the game was, like, the controls are as good as any other game that I've ever played on iOS. Like, how long did you spend on just getting the controls to be like zero latency and as fast as possible?
Oh, geez, we spent quite a while, many weeks, I think.
Yeah, there was a lot of time. I mean, that's like the hardest thing, you know, when like playing and making a platformer, I assume, is getting the controls to be comfortable. And because virtual controls are really, you know, tough to do without any tactile feedback. It's always, I think the decision to go just left and right directions was pretty important, or is pretty key, because once you get like a virtual joystick,
right,
you know, with up and down, I think that's where a lot of games might lose the control a little bit. And when we figured just, you know, left and right and then 2 buttons shouldn't be too bad. And then but lots of testing. There was like all sorts of I loaded up a little drawing program on my phone, and I would hand it to people and say, put your thumbs on, like you're holding a controller, and then just, you know, pretend like you're tapping two buttons on the right side of the screen. Just move your thumb back and forth, and then slide your left thumb back and forth. So I try to make a little like a heat map of where people were holding it, where people's thumbs would go, and then I overlaid all the, about a dozen different heat maps on top of each other and until we had sort of the default control area of like actually where the buttons would, be placed, and then the hit windows would sort of be, surrounding that, like a little larger than the actual buttons.
Right.
But it seemed those does seem to work out. And then Mike Giel, he made a nice for like sort of what you say, the latency is you want to talk about the little was it the delay of the jump but hitting the jump button? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I was like, am I the only
little
one?
guy quiet. Yeah, the little guy came down to say hi. So.
Maybe he can answer the question.
Yeah, basically with the latency, I mean, originally we didn't do anything, and so you ran into the problem where you would, fall or jump off a platform, and when you thought you actually landed on ground again and could jump or slide, you'd hit the jump button, and Mikey wouldn't jump, and so we found that for ourselves to be frustrating. So we came up with this kind of auto jump, auto slide mechanism, which basically just sorry.
I picture you like fighting off a child with your right hand while you're trying to answer the question.
Yeah, so basically it allows a few frames of animation as you're falling before you touch the ground to, if the user presses the jump or slide, like if you're falling before you touch the ground, you have, I think it's like 4 or 5 frames worth of time where if you're in that window and you press the jump, as soon as you hit the ground, Mikey will basically start automatically jumping at that point, and we found that really helped, I guess, with the whole latency kind of reaction issue that we had found. So it looks like now it's very smooth. He jumps and slides exactly when you want him to.
Right.
Yeah, it adds a responsiveness, I think. Feel like that feeling of responsiveness.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. That's what it is. Like I've played pretty much every platformer on iOS, and a lot of them are they're slow for whatever reason, and it just really impressed me with Mikey Shorts that immediately once you're hitting jump, you're jumping, and yeah, that makes sense if you're like kind of cheating on the frames a little bit for input. I mean that totally makes a lot of sense. I was thinking of Adam Saltzman from Cannibalt was actually in town here doing a presentation on designing a Cannibalt, and he used some similar mechanics. And actually, he had every platform had an invisible little chunk beside it, where if you landed on it, you would actually land on the platform. It would basically animate you onto the platform and continue. So just little tricks like that, but the only things that you don't really plan for, you just pick up during like playtesting, and it just makes the game feel that much more solid.
Yeah, and we had a lot of playtesting just from making the game. We probably played it a bazillion hours approximately, and yeah, that was one of the first things we noticed is those little things, because I'm like one of those people that I try to like speed run the level, without bumping into anything. I mean, any game that I can do that on, whether it's like League of Evil or like Must Speed Run, those kind of games are. I'm trying to I don't want to bump into anything. And so our game, I was just playing it the same way. And if I get frustrated at something, at least I have the power to change it, or at least make Mike G change it.
So who did you guys use primarily for that play testing iteration? Did you guys do a lot of it yourself, or did you have other people that you used?
We had family and friends for I think the first round of testing. More of the sort of like, do you understand the menus and how to like start a game, and how to buy disguises in the shop. Like for instance, we didn't even have the shop like on the level complete screen. Like when you finish a level, we didn't have a shop button like on that when we first tested it. And then I think people were sort of wondering where to get the disguises, because we would say, you pass a level, it says you unlocked a disguise, and then nowhere. Everyone's like, "Where? How do you get the disguise now?" And it's so instead of hitting back, the back button to take you back to the menu to go to the shop, we just we ended up moving the shop into the that screen so people could get to it right away. And it was like those kind of things that we didn't think about at first, but like it seemed completely obvious after the fact. It's like, oh yeah, I guess we should have a shop there since we're like telling them they just unlocked something in the shop. Now find the shop.
Yeah, that's a second game built into your game is the randomly moving shop button. Would have been fun.
Yeah, we should have hit it somewhere on that screen.
That
Oh,
would-
it's there. You guys got to find it.
There wouldn't have been support emails at all for that.
No.
Cool. We actually had a question that was submitted to us via Twitter for you guys, and the question was, what was your process for designing levels? Q, do you know who sent you that question on Twitter?
Yes, I can pull it up right now.
Okay. Well, yeah. I guess what was the process for designing levels? Did you put them on like, I don't know, graph paper? Did you design them kind of in like paint? What did you guys do for that?
It's like tile based. It's like some of them actually did use graph paper just sort of when I was kind of figuring out how I wanted to work them. So but yeah, I really just sort of would go through, graphing out just as I'm kind of envisioning how I'd run a level, just pretending, like the level's being built as I'm running it. But so if I say, okay, I want to just jump here, and then I want to jump back to the left, and then, jump up maybe on a platform or two, and then have them drop down and, maybe twist around and then slide. It's just, and I had to do that for a lot of levels and still try to keep it a little unique, so that keep the levels different. But yeah, it was the challenge levels were a little different because they have multiple paths that you can take.
Mm-hmm.
So that added a little bit of different because the story levels, you have statues that you have to touch to unlock to break the gates. And so you sort of can force the player to move left. I mean, you can just you can force the player to go anywhere because they have to touch a statue.
Right.
But with the challenge levels, there's no statues, and so it's sort of a little different. You can just do multiple pathways, and they have to figure out what's the fastest path if they are going for a high score. Or in some of them actually have dead ends, and some of the underwater
Yeah, those are fun.
tube levels. You're thinking you got a great run, and then all of a sudden you're like at a dead end, and then you yell.
Cool. So you probably just used a tool like Tiled or whatever, and you just kind of lay them all out, play test them, and
Tiled is easy. Cocos 2D supports the files. Supports Tiled really well.
Right.
So, and I think most things support Tiled. most engines.
Right. And you would just kind of iterate on that, kind of design on the design of a block of levels, do the art, and just kind of iterate on the design, and then just drop them in, I guess would be kind of the process.
I pretty much just draw little segments, and there's only so much you can do with jump and slide, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
with dropping, but different platforms, I think, and some of the levels actually have sort of cliffs or places where you can fall, and you respawn at a sort of, and you actually respawn nearby, so it's sort of like checkpoints everywhere.
Right.
So nothing too dangerous.
Cool. So the golden shorts that are hidden on each of the main story levels, was that kind of a plan to right from the start, or did that come after, I don't know, playtesting?
Yeah, well, that came about. I think we did all sorts of stuff beforehand to, how, like, I think originally we had some sort of like I don't know if we had coins or I forget even what we had to like for the unlock the gates to move on. I don't know. We had all sorts of different things to like the coins were a part of the score at first, but then we decided to change it to time.
Right.
And then, but we did want a little bit of exploration, for people who like something like Donkey Kong Country.
Right.
Where they have like the hidden coin. Those are we always like that kind of stuff. So
yeah, we had energy balls, I think was.
Oh yeah, it was energy. We had energy balls
the,
to unlock the gates. That's what the and then we didn't even, I don't know, do we have coins also, or is it just energy balls?
Um, I
I don't know. We went
I
through all
can't
sorts
remember
of
now.
weird stuff.
Yeah.
We even had a boost at one point. Like instead of sliding, it was like you would hit a little boost and like go forward.
Nice.
But basically the slide was the boost, except he's just sliding super cool.
And taking out robots while doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So, I guess an update that you guys did recently added iCade support. I love the iCade. I'm a huge fan of that system and the 8-bitty and all those other things. Like, why did you add iCade support? Do you guys like that? And did it do anything for the sales of the game?
Well, it seemed like, there were, a certain set of people that really wanted it, and I thought it'd been fun. I actually didn't have an iCade, so I got one specifically for doing that because I had kind of been wanting one anyway. So I figured that was a good excuse to get it.
Business purposes, right?
Yes,
Tax
business
write-off.
purposes, and yeah, it was actually pretty easy to implement that support. And it's fun to play it on the iCade and everything. So
Yeah, it works really
We
well on the
also
iCade.
we also added the joypad support at the same time,
Right.
which is another thing you can, just not touch the screen of the of your actual device if you have like another device to use. I guess that forces people to have like an iPod Touch or an iPhone to play on their iPad.
Right, exactly. No, that's cool. So sales have been pretty good. Are you guys coming up with any updates in the near future that you want to talk about?
Yeah, we've been doing pretty good. We're pretty happy with how it's been going. We're pretty stoked about the amount of Game Center users. That's what of how many people are battling it out on the leaderboards. So I don't know what the current count is. What is it, 30,000 or is it
we
40,000?
broke 39,000, I think. Here, let me go. I'll
Yeah,
check.
that's like of people who've finished 1-1 at least.
Yes.
People who played the first level. It's like, so we're pretty happy. We like to see that kind of leaderboard stuff. That's what we integrated the in-game leaderboards and everything to try to make it easier for people to see where they stand, so that give them a little motivation to try to climb the leaderboards.
Right, and it makes sense since that's kind of the reason why this game exists was battling on leaderboards.
Yeah, it really is. It really is like a kind of like a racing game against other people's times, and then it's just sort of disguised as a platformer. So I mean, we threw in, of course, the golden shorts and the collecting coins as a platformer features, so that helps it keep it a little traditional platformer vibe.
Nice.
But yeah, we wanted to add for every time we want to add more story levels, but the issue comes with Apple only lets you get 25 leaderboards in a game. So we have 24 story leaderboards already, and then we have the one challenge leaderboard, which is the total score of the challenge levels. So we sort of decided we wanted to come out with a Halloween game. That's a Halloween update, but we ended up sort of coming up with a Halloween version on its own, a separate Halloween edition with 4 levels. It's basically a new Halloween area, and it has 2 different environments and some new music and a nice Halloween vibe throughout the menus. And we just decided that should come out in hopefully maybe sometime soon, before, as long as it comes out before Halloween, I think we're good. But that'll be a free game.
Cool.
So it's just nothing, no in-app purchases or anything. And we're not quite sure what we're gonna do with that version in the future either. I don't know if the Mikey Shorts Seasons is coming out later.
And Mikey Shorts Rio will be the next
Yeah,
version.
pretty much.
Yeah, awesome.
And just wait until Mikey Shorts Star Wars comes out. That one will be the big one.
Oh man,
That'll be good. Just think of all
I think that'd be pretty cool.
the marketing, the merchandise will be great.
We'll talk to LucasArts about that and see what they're doing.
So do you guys kind of expect that there's kind of 2 types of players on your games? There's those that are just going for the speed run, and then those that are actually like exploring the levels, trying to collect everything? Or do you kind of think that more people play the same levels both ways?
I think people look for I think a lot of people just look for a normal platformer, a traditional platformer, and they might, think of more like a Mario game, just based on looks. And so they're thinking, but then when you realize it's, you're getting stars for your speed, for how fast you finish the level. I think once you sort of get into that, the rhythm of playing the levels for speed and trying not to bump into anything, I think a lot of people are surprised that they enjoy that. They don't realize, I think a lot of people don't realize there's fun to be had in trying to finish a level as fast as you can. But a lot of people do like the just getting finding everything, getting all the coins and golden shorts, and even 3 stars on everything. People have messaged us with screenshots of their stats screen,
Wow.
with everything, 100%, completion of everything. It's like, I finished your game. When are you coming out with more levels? And I was like, what?
That's amazing. I've pretty much come to the realization that I'm not going to 3-star every challenge level because some of them are just like crazy hard.
Some of them get a little tough.
Yeah.
You have to yeah, I know that's why we added the retry buttons to be really easy to access. And so as soon as you realize that you bump into something too much, then you just tap retry and keep going.
Nice.
But it does take a little time.
I think when you're striving for perfection, that quick retry button is a must.
Oh yeah, if I'm playing a game and it doesn't have a retry button, I probably just give up, because that's or games that have a load screen, for too long, after you mess up is just, it's like more frustrating than anything.
Yeah.
That was one of our main goals, is the quick load, and luckily it worked out, and everything loads pretty snappy.
I think it's interesting that the thing that you guys are really running into is the lack of how many leaderboards you can have. Is it just because you want to stick with Game Center, or have you looked at some of the other social services?
Well, we originally talked about OpenFaint back in the day. I mean, when we first started, I think OpenFaint was still I mean, I don't want to say common, but I mean, it was still a popular, somewhat popular scoreboard, leaderboard system. That's the ones we played on Hook Champ and Super Quick Hook, all those other those games in the past. But I don't know. I think after a while, I don't know what we decided if we had to choose one to make it simple. The majority of people are going to have Game Center, so we went with that. And then they got, luckily, I mean, OpenFaint got bought by
Gree or whatever,
something,
yeah.
and I don't know if they shut down the OpenFaint part of it for a while or what, but yeah, I think, yeah, we're sticking with Game Center. And we were hoping throughout development that maybe each time that Apple would come out with an announcement for a new iOS or a device, that they'd say something about Game Center, like, oh, you get 100 leaderboards, and then we'd be happy.
You think that would be something easy for them to add, so hopefully that's something that does get requested over and over and over again, so they finally just drop it in.
Yeah, because that's really why we designed the challenge levels to specifically be a total score, because we knew we only had, one leaderboard,
Right.
for, it's an ongoing total. So if people want to, rank high on the challenge boards, they can just we can come out with updates for the challenge levels. But a lot of people still are asking when we're coming out with story levels, and then we have to explain. It's like, we don't have any leaderboards left. So we'll just make a new app every time we want to add.
Well, is it fairly easy, and once you have now that you have the engine done, that you throw in some new art assets and design a few new levels, and it seems like the hard part is done in this part, right?
Oh yeah, for the normal Mikey Shorts, I mean, we got all the control testing, and and pretty much like the shop setup, and everything that's already we've been testing, for the longest time is yeah. Once that's set up, it's just a matter of designing new levels and new backgrounds, and making sure all the when we revamped like the look of the menus, that's really just new graphics that I have to come up with. But yeah, once all the gameplay elements is really, at least for a Mikey Shorts, like expansion, is just going to be the same as Mikey Shorts, with just the new areas or new graphics, so, and music.
So being kind of an indie developer, small little two-man shop, what's been kind of the most challenging thing about it?
I think just getting the word out for your game is always the challenge of indie developers.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
definitely
this,
the
yeah,
marketing side of it. Because I mean, you see that it's a common thing with a lot of the indie developers and whatnot is no one has the marketing experience, and no one has the marketing funds either. I mean, that's the other thing.
yeah, it's just we just email out as many, codes and press releases as we can, and try to get on some, message boards and Twitter and Facebook and whatever we can just to be like, hey everybody. I went around town putting flyers up for our game. Just like it's like, hey, everyone at this bus stop, play Mikey Shorts. It's like our
Word of mouth
marketing. It's like our
advertising.
fancy marketing.
Nice.
We might get a Super Bowl ad. We're not sure yet. We'll check our funds. Probably
Good
not
stuff.
gonna. Maybe a Super Bowl ad for on the local community television station.
Yeah.
Did you guys look into maybe doing a publisher or anything like that? Because I know that sometimes that's why people go with publishers, right?
Yeah, I mean we knew of a few publishers, but I don't know. I think we just kind of wanted to see, how the game did just from us, with you know, but yeah, I don't know. I think yeah, I'm not sure about publishers. I haven't looked into it enough. I don't know if Mike G knows anything more about publishers.
I don't. Yeah, I think it's just kind of lack of experience, knowledge, and I guess yeah, kind of first game. Let's get it out. Let's see how it does on our own, kind of thing, without having to pay some extra big cut to a publisher.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows? Maybe in the future, at some point, we might go with something.
Yeah, it's a tough decision because, like, I mean, when you look at, if we spent, I think it was about a little over 600 days, I think, is from the first email that said, "Hey, do you want to send me some, some artwork for a potential game?" to when we submitted it. I think it was like just over, or when it got approved, might have been like 600 days
Wow.
or something. It's like, so I think after that amount of time, we kind of like want to keep it for ourselves, at least for. But I mean, we wanted to do well, so it's like it's the debate of will a publisher benefit us? We didn't give it too much thought.
Yeah,
But,
it's one of those hard things. Like I know of a local developer who had his game picked up by a publisher. They essentially ripped out the core of the game, or had him rip out the core of the game, add on a whole bunch of different things, add on in-app purchases, and then at the end of like a year said, "Yeah, no, we're not going to publish your game." So he basically was tied up for about a year with little to no recourse. So, I mean, it's probably not the best decision for everybody, but I guess it does work for some people.
yeah, we did that. We did that to ourselves. Our game was tied up by ourselves for a year and ripped
Right.
out everything.
Which feels I guess a little bit better than
Yeah.
someone else doing it to you.
Exactly.
Cool. So obviously you don't want to spoil anything for the future of the business, but do you have any other games that are in development that that you're prototyping? Anything that we might want to look forward to in the next like 6 months or a year? Or you just you're doing the Mikey Shorts thing, and then you're gonna do Super Mikey Shorts and Mikey Shorts World and Mikey Shorts
Yeah, I know.
Galaxy.
Mikey Shorts 64 is coming out soon. No. Yeah, we'll definitely start work on a sequel and sort of I think there's a lot of room for enhancing Mikey Shorts or turning it into more of a I don't want to say a traditional platformer, but at least more or a combination of traditional and speedrunner, and
Mhm.
make it a little try to make it a little fancier, but that might be a little ways off. I know Mike G wanted to experiment with some other code like Unity
Nice.
software. Fancy programmer terms.
Nice.
Yeah, well, Unity looks to be becoming more popular for its cross-platform capabilities, kind of ease of use, cross-platform capabilities for porting to Android and whatnot. If we decide to go that route.
Yeah, I was gonna say like you're iOS only for now, or are you thinking of maybe jumping to do multi-platform, or you're kind of happy with how crazy things are right now, and then maybe deal with that in the future?
Yeah, I think we're kind of happy with how things are right now. So it's still kind of a future possibility.
Right.
I know we've got a lot of people that have asked us if we're going to port to Android.
You should
And while it would be kind of cool, it would definitely be a lot of work.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe in the future you can get it on what is it, PlayStation Mobile or whatever that service is. So you can play it on your PlayStation Vita and do it that way. That would be pretty damn sweet.
That would be, yeah. We actually are. We were trying to get a Mac version going of Mikey Shorts, but that still takes a little bit of conversion also. So
Right.
and I think even submitting it to a Mac app store takes like many weeks or something, I think.
Yeah.
I think the approval's like 27 days or something. Right?
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's like
Yeah, they
And
probably
then
they,
you get rejected and you have to wait another 27 days.
yeah.
yeah.
I think it's like it's like I think they made a movie 28 days later about I think that was about Macintosh App Store publishing.
Yes.
Cool.
Or at least it ends the same way, I think.
Yeah, people bleed from the eyes, and
Something like
that's
that.
that's kind of how it goes. Awesome. Well, I don't have anything else to ask about the game. Jared, do you have any other questions about Mikey Shorts?
No, I just want to thank you guys big time for coming on and chatting with us about it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no problem. And I guess we'll end the interview with a question I like to ask people. What is your all-time favorite video game of all time?
Oh, I would say mine was Mike Meade here. I'd probably just go with Super Mario World
Nice.
as a safe, easy answer.
You're not going to make anybody angry by saying that.
No, that's an easy one.
Oh man, that is a tough one.
It's a small question. It's not very broad at all.
It is. For me, it would have to go back to like a Mario or even Sonic the Hedgehog.
Makes
which I always
sense.
loved playing as a kid.
Makes sense that it's a platformer. Definitely.
Yeah, I know. We both. Yeah, you combined Super Mario World and Sonic. And hey, you got Mikey Shorts, right? No,
Yeah,
wait, no.
definitely had a lot of fun playing all of those.
Good stuff. Well, again, thanks to both you guys, Mike Meade and Mike Gaughen, coming on the show, and
Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks for bringing out Mikey Shorts. It's a game that I love, even though I do want to rip out my hair sometimes in the challenge levels. But I definitely dig it. So looking forward to all your future releases.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you.
All right, so I guess that's going to about do it for this episode, ToG number 119. Thanks, everybody, for joining us and subscribing to the show over at vgpodcast.com. If you have any questions for anybody, us or any guests that we've had on the show, or if you have any developers you'd like us to interview on future episodes, send us an email at vgpodcast@gmail.com. You can always catch us live at vgpodcast.com/live, and we do live shows. Our live show schedule's up there. But I guess until next time, thanks, Jared, for coming on as well. I haven't talked to you very much today. You've been.
It's always my pleasure.
You've been your time's been taken up by the two mics. Oh, I think we lost him. Oh, that was good timing.
Cute.
Awesome.
No, I'm still here.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week. Take it easy.